Star Wars India here with another episode of the Star Wars podcast, and today I will be reviewing the book Catalyst by James Luceno. This book was released in November 2016 as a prequel novel to the Rogue One movie. Now, I will start this by saying that I believe this is an absolute must read before seeing the movie. If you do not see if you do not read the book before seeing the movie, you're going to lose a lot of depth to certain minor characters that aren't given as much depth, and also more depth to the villain, uh, Orson Krennic. This book gives them way more background and way more understanding to what those characters were experiencing in the movie. And the book overall was well crafted by James Luceno. Like always, he writes some of the best books. I've read Millennium Falcon by him and Tarkin, and Catalyst was just another one on top of that, as well as the well acclaimed Dark Plagueis, which I have not read yet. So let's get into the book. What happens in the book? This book follows three to four characters, depending on where you are in the book. It follows maybe five. It follows Lyra and Galen Urso. It follows Orson Krennic. It occasionally follows a smuggler by the name of Haas Orbit, and it follows Grand Moff Tarkin from time to time. Now, what does this book do? When does this book occur, and what's the storyline? The book starts during the beginning of the Clone Wars. Lyra and Galen are on the world vault, and they get stuck there in the middle of a coup while they are doing research to find a way to transmit energy to other planets. And along the way, um, a coup occurs on the vault that turns Vault over to the Separatists, and the Separatists want Galen. So, Galen and Lyra are put in prison but separated. During the time, Lyra has Jyn while in prison, and eventually they are rescued by Orson Krennic, who wants Galen for building the weapon for the Death Star, which the Republic got the plans for after the Battle of Geonosis. Essentially, the whole book is about how Galen manipulates, uh, not how Galen is manipulated, sorry, how Galen is manipulated to work on the Death Star project, and how Lear finds out about this. And Haas Orbit occasionally helps them travel around places. Haas Orbit also reveals to Lyra some of the terrible things the Empire is doing. At one point, they discover that the Empire had tricked Haas Orbit into making some legendary planets or protected planets. It seemed like they were going to rebel against the Empire, which means their legendary status were revoked, allowing the Empire to then mine the planets and basically destroy them. So it helps to show some of the terrible things the Empire was doing and helps paint them with a darker picture. But at the same time, we also get Galen being manipulated slowly and believing uh, Orson's lies to him about the project. Orson Krennic sets up a completely different facility after the Clone Wars on Coruscant just for Galen, that then they transmit all the information for the project. And eventually through Lyra's exploration of information about stuff that was going on, and Galen subtly trying to figure out information from Krennic. They learn what Krennic has done and escape by the end of the book with the help of Saw Gerrera, which Haas or Beat uh, got in contact with them through another situation earlier with Grand Moff Tarkin. The book has a lot more depth than that. Early on, Galen doesn't want to work for him as he doesn't want to take sides in the war, but the end of the war with Order 66 and whatnot ends all that. And Jyn is in the background of the whole story, occasionally showing up and being mentioned, which is lots of fun considering that Jyn is the main character of Rogue One. It's kind of cool seeing Jyn grow up. And so the book overall was just well done and well crafted. I enjoyed the story, though it might seem boring the way I'm explaining it. The story itself gets in a lot more depth, and if you have seen the movie, read the book and then watch the movie again. It will give the characters of Galen Orson much more meaning, as well as Lyra, who's only in the movie for like 2 scenes. But there are some references made to Lyra's past that is basically explained in this book. At one point, Orson says, "Troublesome as always, Lyra," and the book basically explains that line, and it adds so much more depth behind what Orson said there, and also with the relationship between the 3 characters. And one of the other cool things about the book is because of this constant, Lyra knows information that Galen doesn't, and Galen doesn't necessarily trust that information. It also kind of has some stress on their relationship, which is kind of interesting to see go down. Overall, though, I rate this book probably 4 out of 5, as I have read better Star Wars books, such as the Thrawn trilogy, but it's a must-read for the Rogue One movie, and I think any Star Wars fan should read it. And of the Star Wars canon novels I read, it's definitely, well, I've only read one other one, which is also by James Luceno, but it is pretty good, and I definitely suggest it. So, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Star Wars Indiana with an episode of the Star Wars podcast. Talk to you later.